If you're not familiar with the Mortal Kombat series, let me briefly get you up to speed. It's a long-running and well-known fighting game series that's mostly remembered for its violent finishers that can be inflicted upon the opponent after victory has been achieved.
Your bloodline ends.
Scarlet wins.
Yeah, kinda like that. I've been a huge fan of the series ever since my itty bitty weedle brain saw it for the first time at my daycare center. Side note, it was a pretty crappy daycare, and I was way too young for the game at the time, but that's not really the point. Anyways, I've kept up with the series through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and now here we are, Mortal Kombat 11. And for the most part, I'd have to say, yeah, it's pretty good.
You have lost so many.
No soldier thinks she'll live forever.
Join your comrades in hell.
Now, of course, that's super simplified, and I will go into more depth, but that's my general overall opinion. For those who have played the past few games in the series, there have been a few surprising gameplay changes. The first is that there's not an all-encompassing special gauge as there was in Mortal Kombat X, which could be used offensively or defensively depending on your situation. Instead, there are two different meters, one for offensive and one for defensive, and using one won't affect the other. Using the offensive meter is now exclusive for powering up special attacks or cancelling attacks early in order to create an opening for a combo. Using the defensive meter will allow you to add armor to your character temporarily, and help you break out of your opponent's combo if you're in the middle of being wailed on. The separation allows you to use offensive and defensive abilities independent of one another, and I think that's a great change. Since for me personally, it allows the use of meter against a hyper-aggressive opponent without having to give up opportunities that I would want to extend my own combo. Along with this, X-ray attacks from past games have been modified a bit, and are now two completely different type of attacks. The first is called a Crushing Blow, which is a more powerful version of a move or combo that only occurs if certain requirements can be met. For example, new character Cetrion has a normal 3-hit combo. However, if you manage to use it to punish an opponent right before they actually manage to attack you, a Crushing Blow version of the attack will occur instead. The other thing that the X-ray attack has been morphed into is the Fatal Blow, a cinematic and powerful attack that can only be used if you are below 25% of your health. If you attempt to use a Fatal Blow and miss, you can attempt to use it again after a short duration, as long as you haven't died in the interim. Both Crushing Blows and Fatal Blows can only be used once per match, encouraging players to use a varied ability list and to strike their opponent with everything they have. In order to evolve upon Mortal Kombat X, which had different variations that allowed the same character to have multiple ways to play them, this game instead allows you to create variations for the characters, even allowing you to give these creations their own name. Each character has a core set of abilities that do not change, but you can add new moves or modify existing moves that the character already has. This game also gives you tournament-specific variations in case you want to try different versions of the characters that will actually be allowed in a tournament setting. As far as the characters that you can play in the game, the vast majority are characters returning from the older titles, like Liu Kang, Kitana, and Sonya Blade, who is now played by MMA fighter Ronda Rousey. A few returning faces from Mortal Kombat X also appear, like Cassie Cage, D'Vorah, and Kotal Kahn, and 3 brand new characters enter the roster: the aforementioned Elder God Cetrion, the Greedy Collector, and the Undying Geras. Generally speaking, I think this is a great roster, and there aren't really any characters that I dislike. Story mode is back in Mortal Kombat 11, and for the most part I have very few complaints about it. While there are a few jobbers in the cast that are only there to be mini number 1, mini number 2, and so on, the majority of the cast gets fleshed out remarkably well, including some of the minor antagonists. Some of the best callouts for this game would have to be Kitana, Kano, and Cassie, as they generally steal the show in just about every scene that they're in. I also love a lot of the voice work that has been done in the game. Vieta Pozniak brings the Blood Mage Scarlet to life with her amazing delivery. And of course, the veteran actress Jennifer Hale is particularly menacing as the Titan Kronika, the primary antagonist for the story.
Oh, Raiden. Do you think this is the first time you made that vow? We have repeated this exact conversation so often in so many timelines. I've lost count.
It seems that NetherRealm has managed to learn what works in past games and have managed to successfully make each story mode better as they've gone along. There are moments where some have stated that the actual story drags on a bit without a fight, but personally this didn't bother me, as I found myself immersed in the fun, if slightly silly story. While I don't want to spoil the story for the game, I do want to say that they left the story at a point where it can actually end comfortably. but with the ability to add on if they want to. Essentially, the future of Mortal Kombat could go either way, and I'm surprisingly okay with that. Now, for those following the game, it has been mentioned that when the game first was released, it was a bit grindy, to say the least. Basically, there are 3 types of currencies in the game: coins, with a K of course, souls, and hearts. Okay, that last is a little macabre, but whatever. Each one is used in chests in the crypt, or can be used to purchase character-specific towers so that you can unlock various items for that character specifically. Well, when the game came out, drops for the game were extremely low, and playing through the game to try and unlock items felt more like a chore rather than a stress reliever. This, for the most part, has since been remedied as drops are significantly higher, and it no longer feels as grindy. Generally, just playing through the game normally will allow you to get a lot of items you may want, even though, for the most part, item drops are completely random. This has been particularly apparent as people have been trying to get the unmasked versions of certain characters. I've actually been lucky and managed to get 3 so far. However, this isn't helped by the fact that there is currently a bug in the game where cosmetic items can drop multiple times even if you already have it. So yeah, there are still some issues to iron out. After getting into the swing of things, the meatiest portion of the game will be the Towers of Time. Towers of Time are a rotating list of different towers that can allow you to unlock rare skins and cosmetics for various characters. However, each tower will have some sort of variable within it. Some are as simple as having the enemy side have another character that can help them out, or they can become a nightmare combination of various attacks and hazards that will leave you pulling your hair out. Luckily, most of the latter combinations have been toned down with a patch, as they were insanely difficult when the game was initially released, to the point of being nearly impossible. Now they can be challenging, but are generally doable if you're skilled or careful enough. There are also various item drops that can be used to make these fights easier, by giving you your own allies or abilities to help even the playing field. If for some reason you are still having a lot of trouble, however, you can use skip tokens, which drop periodically from chests in the crypt. There are also big boss events where multiple players can connect and take on a powered up enemy in tag team, or by having one person fighting while your teammate throws power-ups and attacks at the enemy so they can't get the upper hand. These towers can be interesting, but since there's no way to judge the skill of who you're being partnered with, oftentimes there's at least one person in the group who doesn't really know what they're doing. And it often sucks when that person is you. So far, I'd say that Mortal Kombat 11 has been the best fighter that has been released so far, though jury is still out on whether or not it will stay that way. I'd say if you're really interested in Mortal Kombat and don't want to wait 9 months for the version that will come out with all of the DLC already included, I'd say go ahead, grab it. It's actually a lot of fun. And now that a lot of the issues have been ironed out, it feels like a very rewarding and fun experience. And of course, I'd be remiss to leave you without one fatality, so...
Cetrion wins.
Hey, thanks for watching my review of Mortal Kombat 11. I've been having a lot of fun with it so far, though I wanted to wait for all of the patches to come out before I gave it an official seal of approval. If you liked my review, please like and subscribe, as always. Or if you didn't like it, please tell me why, as I'm always open to have a discussion. I'd also recommend taking a look at the other videos that I have on my channel. I've been doing quite a lot of lore dive videos lately, and I have one coming out for Resident Evil soon. So if you're a fan of Resident Evil, I'd recommend checking that out. And I'm probably going to do Mortal Kombat eventually. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.